everyone. Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good to see everyone this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now in the hands of our city clerk, Ms. Lisa Carroll.
This is a pre-meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, November 26th. We have appeals. We have requests for a waiver of the noise ordinance on Lake Drive, July the 19th from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. March the 1st from 7 p.m. until 2 a.m. on Government Street.
Councilman Carroll?
I won't hold that over a week.
Okay.
I just think it's unreasonable for them. We just made an agreement with,
Turn your mic on.
We just made an agreement with the IMs down the street for residential noise during Mardi Gras going past midnight. I want to make sure that we're not imposing the same issues at that corner in Church Street East that we are on the other corners before I say okay.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Valina Green, Reverend Ray Bourne, Reverend Sean Little, and Frank Coleman are all discussing abuse and neglect concerning the ordinances pertaining to unhoused and disabled individuals. Vicky Howell comments about the homeless issue in Mobile. Ordinance is held over 41054. Ordinance to amend section 41.5, loitering in parks and or playgrounds of the code of the city of Mobile, Alabama. 55055. Ordinance to amend Article 5, panhandling of the city code of the city of Mobile, Alabama. 57056. Ordinance to amend section.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh. Ordinance to amend section 57.73, obstructions on sidewalks of the code of city of Mobile, Alabama.
We had a committee meeting on last week. We have our chairperson. Would you like to speak on this, Madam Chair?
Sure. We left the meeting with the call to action of making some minimal changes to what was before us. And we should have gotten that through email last week or earlier in the week. Ben and or Paul, do y'all want to discuss what those changes were?
All we did was change the definition, and it's on our agenda attached. It just changes the definition of solicit and solicitation to match that in the article as it's already stated.
Okay. Any other questions?
I guess it's further down the road. There's a new ordinance on the agenda changing the definitions of all for these
Yeah.
terms also.
Yeah, there was something else, it's just changing definitions. Yeah.
So are those to match the definitions that we're changing in this ordinance? Is that the cause of that resolution? Ordinance?
Yes.
Who do we have today? Is Corey and Joel going to be here today?
Joel is not.
Joel's
Joel's
not.
not.
Corey.
What do y'all want to do? Y'all want to just go ahead and, if this shows up as a new ordinance on the agenda today, but we can just amend 55055 with this replacement and just take it up and get it all done today, if that's what y'all want to do.
And that's fine with me and objections from the council.
Everybody okay doing it?
I just check the rules and make sure the procedure's right.
That's attorney.
Okay.
That needs to be done.
All right.
I'll double check, but I think as long as it's just a portion of the ordinance.
It doesn't require any advertising, none of that kind of stuff.
Not-
So based on the rules, it can be done.
Yes, it's all part of section 55.
Are there any other definitions in there that we're changing outside of the ones that solely affect the 2 or 3 ordinances that we're trying to get through for?
No, this just appears as just basically a replacement. It was just placed on the agenda as a replacement. So the only definition that was changed from the original was solicit and solicitation.
So if it's just a couple of words,
Yeah.
then we should be able to.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
we
was
can do
talking
that.
about in reference to the ones that are in the ordinance being introduced.
No,
Well, they're shaking their head and saying no.
Who is that?
Rob, Ricardo?
The only
Wait.
thing that changed was the definitions from the chapter as it stated earlier in the chapter. That definition was placed into this ordinance versus creating
Mr.
a
Rob,
new one.
come up. Ricardo. Yeah, Ricardo.
Good morning. Just want to make sure I'm getting your question clear. Go ahead and restate it if you would.
It was on.
Okay. So what was, just want to make sure I got the
There's-
clarity on the question.
There's a new ordinance being introduced that is, I can't remember if it's defined changing definitions or definitions. And it has a list of definitions for about, 15, 20 words in there? So are there any definitions in this ordinance that are being changed outside of the definitions included in the homeless?
No, there was one reference that we talked about from small dog to puppy, but outside of that, like that was just a discussion. So nothing else. I can tell you this. You asked the other questions. I just want to make sure everybody heard me. Ms. Carbo is correct. It does not require advertisement. It does not require you all to do anything additionally. As Mr. Ronald stated, if you all wanted to take it all up today, you could. I mean, as long as you do it by unanimous consent, you're able to take up the definitions. Probably want to do that so that you have consistent definitions going forward with enforcement and there's no confusion. So it's either take it up all today or wait.
So-
But that's at your leisure.
So you're talking about going ahead and taking up the ordinance as well as, of course, what we were already talking about, the ordinance held over on the panhandling.
That's right. That's why you have a clean implementation and you
So
don't
that
have
it's all done
confusion.
at the same time because we're changing some definitions.
That's right.
Anything else from this council? Reynolds, you good?
Yes, sir.
Carol, you
I'll
good?
just offer the amendment.
Carol, you good?
As long as it's following
Woods,
rules.
you good?
Yes, sir.
All right, Madam Clerk.
64061, consider rezoning property at 2301 McFarland Road from R1 to R3.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I just want to clarify what this is. This is a newly annexed area coming in, the newest Publix, I guess, in the city of Mobile, right there on McFarland. It's a DR Horton development, and basically what this is Planning Commission's owned it R1. Whenever, came in, accepted, did the assignment. This is just taking a portion of the property there and turning it into basically townhomes on it correctly, so townhomes can be built. Several meetings over the course of this time frame. I did hear from some neighbors, or specifically two neighbors, and feel that everything's been adequately addressed. So I just wanted to touch base with that, since this is one of the newest processes as far as newly annexed areas are concerned.
Anyone else? All right, Madam Clerk.
Resolutions held over 081105, approved purchase order to Samsung Equipment Company for knuckle boom loaders. 081131.
Yeah. Ms. Smith.
I wanted to ask if we can table this one, 081105.
Table.
Oh,
It will
okay.
come, table it and we'll come back to it at another time.
Okay.
Thank you.
081131, approved purchase order to A Step Above Stables for draft cross gelding for MPD. 081132, approved purchase order to Sealmaster, Alabama for tennis court surface repairs. 081133, approved purchase order to Empire Truck Sales. 081134, approved purchase order to Mohawk Carpet Distribution. 091135, authorized transfer of funds from capital project CO 526 to project 3 Tap 3 MC for construction of Japanese Gardens parking lot, segment 1. 211136, authorized contract with Paleo West doing business as Chronicle Heritage for review of the design review guidelines for Mobile's historic districts. 211137, authorized contract with Volker for design and engineering services for Phase 3 of the Broad Street redevelopment project. 211138, authorized contract with SCS Engineering for City of Mobile energy audit 211139, authorized contract with McElhaney Construction for construction of the Japanese Gardens parking lot improvement in segment 1 of the 3 Mile Creek Greenway Trail. 311140, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive grant funding from SARPC FTA grant program to purchase passenger buses for a sale program. 1141, 1142, and 1143 are authorizing settlement agreement and release of claims. Ordinance is being introduced, 01062, ordinance to amend section 55-4142 definitions of the Code of the City of Mobile.
Is this okay to go ahead and waive the rules today?
One's following the rules. I'm good.
Everybody good with waiving the rules on this?
Madam Clerk.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 03-1144, concur in the reappointment of E. Luckett Robinson II to the Mobile Airport Authority. 03-1145, concur in the reappointment of Elliot B. Maisel to the Mobile Airport Authority.
Mr.
30.
President, would it be okay to go ahead and take, since these are reappointments, would it be to go ahead to waive the rules and take this?
These are
It's
consent.
it's on consent anyway, so.
I'm lost. All right, thank you. Have a great day.
31-1146, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive an asphalt art initiative grant from Bloomberg Philanthropies, $100,000, no local match. 31-1147, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive grant assistance from All Kids Play Youth Sports Grants, $20,000, no local match. 58-1148, authorize removal of weeds, Group 1661. 60-1149, 1150, 1151, 52 are determine appropriations to Trinity Gardens Community Civic Club, People United to Advance the Dream, Africa Town Community Development Corporation, Lake Circle Friends LLC, serve a public purpose and approve payment.
Mr. President,
Yeah, Ms. Carroll.
60-1151. The source of the funding is wrong on that. It's not coming from discretionary funding. It's coming from the capital discretion left over from last year. So that needs to be corrected before we pass that. The funding source should be the capital discretion left over from last year.
All right.
60-1153, approve award of special bonus to the city clerk's office employee of the month. Resolutions being introduced, 03-1154, appoint Scott Collins as executive director of finance.
Madam Vice President.
How do you all feel about going ahead and voting on this one today, waiving the rules? I think we all know Scott Collins.
Nah, I'm not in favor of it.
All right.
So much for your budget request next year.
I mean, it's not like he's not gonna get there anyway. You know?
All right, Madam Clerk.
08-1155, approve purchase order to Dana Safety Supply for Gorilla Command Center vehicle storage vaults, $58,940.36. 08-1156, approve purchase order to eBuilder for annual renewal of eBuilder project management software, $66,103.33. 08-1157, approve purchase order to LexisNexis Risk Solutions for subscription to information collection and investigation software, $23,400. 08-1158, approve purchase order to Intera for subscription to Intera Operations Situational Awareness Software, $20,171. 08-1159, approve purchase order to Stuns for subscription to workflow management software, $73,242. 13-1160, authorized change order number 1 with Thompson Engineering for U.S. Highway 45 streetscape improvements increase of $13,323.50. 21-1161, authorized contract with Thompson Engineering for 2024 stormwater modeling, $240,000. 21-1162, authorized contract with Sawgrass Consulting for 2024 PAYGO resurfacing, $619,775. 211163, authorized contract with Dorsey and Dorsey Engineering for 2024 PAYGO resurfacing, $383,200. 211164, authorized contract with Thompson Engineering for 2024 PAYGO resurfacing, $485,800. 800,000, sorry. $485,800. Announcements.
Council, Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, on the pay-as-you-go, when will that work begin? What is the anticipated start date? I know this is just engineering, but so asphalt will be on the ground and starting in the spring.
About the time the CIP is wrapping up, this should be rolling.
Okay. And then the stormwater mapping, what is it involved with stormwater mapping?
Yeah, so they're going to be looking, the consultant's going to be looking at three different watersheds. One being what's referred to as Little Stickney. It's basically the real estate between Old Shell Road and Spring Hill Avenue. If you drive it, there's a little bowl. So from Upham Street to Mobile Infirmary Boulevard, they're going to model the existing drainage system that's there to see, how big a new system would be, but also to look at us and tell us if there's smaller things that we can do to improve it. One of the other watersheds, Ann Street, all things around Ann Street. There's lots of problems in that watershed. And then the Florida Street watershed, basically from the Old Shell Road Railroad underpass back to the other railroad there at where the old Whistle Stop restaurant was. So they'll basically look at that existing infrastructure and see if there's tweaks that we could make to make it function better without doing the full-blown rebuilds, but then also tell us what the full-blown rebuilds look like as well.
So you said Ann Street, right?
That's
So
correct.
The boundaries on Ann, or I'm guessing Dolphin, Old Shell Road,
Dolphin,
Lafayette,
Spring Hill,
and,
yeah. So we've got the trunks designed, they're designed appropriately, but there's also the peripheral neighborhood streets that are draining to it. And oftentimes those things are old. The inlets themselves are challenged sometimes. So they're going to do a little deeper dive and see again, if, y'all know how expensive those complete rebuilds are, to see if there's tweaks that we can make to make things better today.
So we're talking about the collapse from Chamberlain back to Ann, and from Julia back. That's right, from Julia back to Ann, and the collapse right there at Old Shell Road.
Yeah.
And
I can share with you that what the watershed looks like. You just have to look. You have to look at it on a map really to fully understand it.
several years ago, we looked at the same thing. I think it was the same year that we did Macy Place. That was, I want to say 05. I can't remember, somewhere between 05 and 07. And there was a mapping done at that time that also included those streets, but also Bayou Street, where we did the correction on Bayou Street, and also the outfall at Virginia Street. So I know that we have that information somewhere.
Well, the result of this is the stormwater modeling that has been done in recent years, where we've gotten more accurate information, where they can take the stuff. You've probably seen some of it in our GIS, and actually build a hydraulic model of it. Hopefully we'll get to the point where we can have that for the entire city. But these specific watersheds, we know there's been past projects. There's projects that are designed, past projects that that citizenry would like us to do.
Mr. Penn?
Thank you, Mr. President. I had a question for the administration. I know back in August, we started contracts with the Wave Transit System. Have we renewed that, or what's the process? Where we at?
Currently, they're in negotiations with the union for the contract, and they have not come to terms yet for the upcoming year. So right now, we're operating without a contract. Yeah, with the Wave, yes.
Yeah.
The negotiations between TransDev and the union right now, so it's ongoing.
Yeah, just going beyond that, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but I've talked to at least two of y'all already. In the budget, there was $10 million for Wave. And I think that the city's obligation, as I told to everybody else, going back as far as I know, it's based on ridership and what we get from the federal government. My question is why are we covering the rest of that expenditure for that line item? I don't think, I think, what, 15, how long ago was that? We had the same argument when we were covering the additional expenses and,
I think we have it every time it comes up.
oh, really?
It
Well, I
does.
haven't had this conversation in a while.
Yeah, well,
But
this,
we're covering, I think, another $4-6 million in additional costs that should be covered by somebody else.
We
So my question
continue
is,
having that same conversation every time, but I
Mhm.
think unfortunately, the city is the one that winds up having to cover it. It's because we have to,
that
as
is
far
correct.
as I know.
We have approached the wave to look at reduction. So that is the current challenge we have working with TransDev. We want to see a large decrease in that, the city is covering.
well, I mean, I don't think we can reduce each, when you say reductions, you're talking about routes?
Well, that we're coming with, we're asking them for recommendations, how we can reduce the overhead that we're currently paying. The city pays a large portion of the public transportation. So we're encouraging TransDev to see how we can cut operating costs.
What about fair share from other municipalities?
Yeah.
Yeah, where's that contribution?
Oh, okay.
So just to answer your question, just briefly, the contract that the city has with Wave expires on June 30.
Mhm.
So we'll have to renegotiate that contract sometime between now and June 30. The expenditures that we pay currently that we talked about for last fiscal year that were a little higher than we thought are included in their existing contract. So while that they do request payment from the city, those costs are eligible expenses under the current contract that the city has with Wave. Their labor negotiations that are underway between Wave and the union are ongoing. That will be separate from the city's contract that we will renegotiate with them beginning July 1.
So we have a ways to go before we tackle this problem, is what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, not problem. We have a ways to go before we encounter this opportunity.
Yes, sir. We've had preliminary discussions with Wave. We've had them come in. We'll likely start talking true contract negotiations in February or March in anticipation of a July 1 new contract being in place.
You finished, Mr. Carroll?
I'm fine. There's
Yeah.
nothing I can do until
Yeah.
we,
I would like to ask the administration, if possible, we can find a third party to look into this. I had a meeting with Mr. Mayor a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling Mr. Mayor, went up to Birmingham, and the person that's the director over the transit authority up there, she was talking about how they are building houses up in Birmingham. And I'm like, she was really just wagging her tail about all that their transit authority is doing up in Birmingham. And I'm like, we don't hear anything from the Wave, here in Mobile locally, what they're doing. The only time we hear something is when the employees get upset, with the administration, then they come and talking to us about it. But my question is to myself is, are they doing all that they can do? And who really overseeing them? I really think that we need to, as a city, probably need to bring in a third party to look into that, especially if the contract is going to be renewed in June 30th. Because again, we pumping money into it, but we putting money somewhere that's being wasted, make sure that the citizens are getting that valuable of their money worth and everything. Because again, the director, when she was just bragging, she was just talking about it. I'm like, I never imagined that the transportation authority would be investing into housing. That was just something new to me. So I really believe that we need to look into a third party to really look into see about the management of Wave, because again, who's really overseeing them?
Yes, sir. We started looking at one simple, MOGO is a transportation services run through the chamber. We met with their provider 2 weeks ago to get some information from them. They're working on a proposal for us as well. So when we get that information back from them, we anticipate that to be delivered to us in January. We'll have some, at least limited opportunity to look at alternate for shorter routes and single router routes in addition to the transit authority. So we should have an opportunity to look at least 2 proposals.
Okay. Anyone else?
Do we have, those, the Wave buses, do we own those? Yes, we do.
Yes,
City
we do.
owns those, and then they operate.
Yes.
Okay.
We own the property.
yeah, we own the hub in Pritchard. I don't even think it's used anymore.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then one else from this council? Anything from administration? Okay, we'll see each other at 10:30.
That meeting today with that,